Well, y'all grew up so fast. We're already at chapter 3. So yeah, this first section is important as a setup here. It's got a lot of important phrases and terms that if you don't understand them, then the rest of a lot of what we're going to do is going to be really difficult. So this ends up being important. Before we really get going here, I kind of cut myself shaving over here. Then that's got to be difficult to look at me as I'm talking. So hopefully that doesn't bother you. But I'll just keep going. Let's jump right in here. All right, some definitions that have to do with parallel lines and planes. All right, two lines that do not intersect are either parallel or skew. Skew may be a new word for you. Parallel lines, the symbol for it's kind of like a slanted 11 there. These are coplanar lines that do not intersect. That's the definition of parallel lines. So what are skew lines? Parallel lines. These, if you're drawing lines and you want to mark them as parallel, you add these little arrows in the middle of the lines. If you want, we can add more arrows there as well if you have more sets of parallel lines, like what we do with congruent segments. What are skew lines? Skew lines are non-coplanar. They are neither parallel nor do they intersect. So if we have two parallel planes here, these lines will not intersect and they are absolutely not parallel. That also is my picture of parallel planes. Parallel planes, of course, are planes that don't intersect. So where in your life have you seen parallel planes? Think of one, write it down. And when have you seen a line and a plane parallel? Give me an example of that as well. Now, to help you with this, there's these three types of lines. Intersecting lines, parallel lines, and skew lines. So to help understand their differences, there's really two categories. There's lines that intersect and there's lines that are coplanar. So an intersecting line, do they intersect? Well, of course they do. That's what they're called. And then are intersecting lines coplanar? Oh, I went the other way, sorry. Do parallel lines intersect? No, they do not. And do skew lines intersect? No, they do not. So the only type of line that intersects are intersecting lines. And then there's whether or not lines are coplanar. Do intersecting lines, are they coplanar? Yes, they are. Two lines that intersect in a plane. Are parallel lines coplanar? Yes, they are. Are skew lines coplanar? No, they are not. So the difference between parallel and skew is that parallel lines are coplanar, skew lines are not. And the difference between intersecting lines and the other two are whether or not they intersect. Okay, so this chart by itself will help simplify answering these questions. Go ahead and pause the video. It should take you just a minute to answer these 6 questions. Give them a shot. You must pause. Okay, hopefully the chart helped you to answer these questions. If not, we'll talk about it. All right, since we're talking about parallel things, will you write a pair of L's in the middle of the page on the right-hand side? Just 2 L's over there, please. Thank you very much. Okay, so a transversal is a line that intersects 2 or more coplanar lines in different points. Okay, it's actually simpler than it sounds in the sense of this. If you have 2 lines, H and K, T is the transversal. It intersects the 2 lines at 2 points. Okay, when we're talking about a pair of angles, which we will be here in a minute, the transversal is the one that's going to go through both vertices of all of these angles that are formed right here. The transversal goes through the 2 vertices. Transversal, vertices, you get it? Okay. So over here, we got these 3 lines, H, K, and T. Well, each of them are transversals of those 2 lines. It depends on which set of angles we're talking about. If we're talking about these 2 points here, T is intersecting H and K. T is the transversal of H and K. If we're talking about these points, where the pointer is here now, and this here, the blue line, H is the transversal of the 2 lines, a T and K. And then K can also be a transversal of these two. So it totally depends on which angles, which set of vertices we're talking about, as far as which line is a transversal and which two are just the lines. This over here, though, neither of those are transversals. None of those are transversals because none of those lines intersect the other lines twice. It has to go through 2 times. So here's the first type of question you're going to be answering about this stuff. Name the 2 lines in the transversal that form each pair of angles. Let me help you get started here. Angles 1 and 2, it helps us to trace them and pay attention to where the vertices are of the angles that are formed by those 2 lines. So of these 3 lines, K, L, and N, which one is intersecting both of those vertices? Transversal vertices, that would of course would be line N. So then the other 2 lines, like K and L in this case, are the other lines. There's always going to be 2 lines in a transversal. So the transversal is N with lines K and L. If we're talking about angles for 2 and 3, well, what are the 2 vertices? Well, it's the same 2 vertices, so it's the same transversal. N is the transversal, and K and L are the 2 lines. All right, on number 8, if 4 and 5 are highlighted here by these 2 lines, which line, there's 4 lines here, A, B, C, and D, which one is the transversal, and which 2 help form those angles? One of them's not involved here. I'll let you answer that question. Did you say the transversal is A, and then lines B and C are the 2 lines? Okay, good. What about 4 and 6? Do you see how it helps to highlight the lines or trace the lines before you answer those? If you highlight them all, then it makes a big mess. So, did you say A is the transversal with lines B and D? Hope you did. Number 9 down here, it gets a little bit different when we have the segment-looking lines and we have just more intersections going on here. But here's angles 1 and 2. Can you tell which line goes through the 2 vertices? It can help you to extend those lines. If it does, do so. If it doesn't, don't. Hopefully you said the transversal is segment AC with lines BA and CE. I'm going to set you free to answer these last 3 parts, 9B, 10A, and 10B. Pause the video for just a moment. Okay, these are the answers to these questions. So all that we're doing here is we're identifying transversals and then the lines. So that is it. The next page has other really important stuff. All right, now we're going to get to the meat and potatoes of this lesson right here. That sounds good. Will you write meat and potatoes at the top left-hand corner of this page for me? Yay. All right, so this is critical, these pairs of angles. We'll first talk about the pairs. Let's talk about interior angles. In this diagram over here, doesn't it make sense to you that the interior angles are the ones between the 2 lines? T is our transversal. The 2 lines help form the set of interior angles. Those would be 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then there's exterior angles would be the other ones, 1, 2, 7, and 8. So we have interior angles and exterior angles when we have 2 lines in a transversal. Now, these next 3 terms is the real critical part of this. Alternate interior angles. All right, so these are the interior angles. So what do we mean by alternate interior angles? Well, alternate means we're on alternate sides, like to alternate, to switch sides. We're on alternate sides of the transversal. So angles 3 and 6 are alternate interior angles, as well as 4 and 5 are alternate interior angles. They're on the inside of the 2 lines, they're interior, and then they alternate the sides of the transversal. So they're alternate interior angles. Okay, another important angle relationship will be same side interior angles. So we still have 3, 4, 5, and 6 are the interior angles. So what do you think same side interior angles means? Well, that means we're on the same side of the transversals. So 3 and 5 and then 4 and 6 are our 2 pairs of same side interior angles. So anytime you have 2 lines with a single transversal, that you'll have two pairs of alternate interior angles and two pairs of same-side interior angles. All right, corresponding angles. This one well, the name doesn't tell us exactly what it means, but this means same relative location. So what corresponds to angle 1? Well, if you consider that angle 1 is on the upper left-hand side of this set of intersections, then so is angle 5. Angles 1 and 5 correspond. Okay? And then what corresponds with angle 2? Well, that's 6. They're both on the upper right-hand corner. And then 3 goes with 7, and that leaves 4 with 8. So those are the corresponding pairs. Now, right here it's going to ask you to identify for these pairs of angles whether or not they are alternate interior, same-side interior, or corresponding. Well, we have now we have a lot more sets. Whether we're talking about D is the transversal or B is the transversal, C is the transversal will depend on where we're talking about interior angles or not. So let me help you do this first set. If we're talking about angles 2 and 4, these are the transversals. So C is the transversal. We're clearly not talking about interior angles because 2 is inside and 4 is outside. So what are they? They are corresponding here. Angle 2 is here, angle 4 is out there. Those are corresponding angles. Angles 10 and 11 have D as the transversal, and then A and B are the two lines. Are they interior? Yes, they are. Are they same side? Are they in the same side of the transversal? Yes, they are. They're same side interior. Oh, snap. Go ahead and answer those questions, even though you saw some of the answers. Okay, how'd you do? Well, I hope so. I really, really do. We've got one more set of questions down here. All right, got a little more traffic going on, and the angles aren't numbered like they were before, so let's just be careful. See how it goes for you. Let me get you started with this first one. STU is this angle here. How does STU and SZX, how do they relate? Well, those are the two angles. It can help you to kind of mark them this way. What is the transversal? What line goes through the two vertices? Well, that would be line ST or SZ. So are the two angles there, are they on the interior? Nope. STU is on the exterior, so those are in the same relative position. Those are corresponding angles. Go ahead and try these last 7, see how you do. All you're doing is determining which type that they are. Pause the video. All right, so S interior, same side interior, corresponding, alternate interior, etc. Those are the abbreviations. And we will work more on this. I hope this makes some initial sense and that you're doing well. I don't know about you. I'm exhausted. I'm going to get some rest. I hope you do too. We've got a lot of learning to do. Bye-bye.